Coming up on Network Africa. Heavy storm wreaks havoc in Cape Town as authorities order schools to close in South Africa. Over 90 people killed in Mozambique ferry disaster. Plus, Rwanda commemorates 30 years since 1994 genocide. President Paul Kagame says the world failed his country. Hello and welcome to the program. I'm Layo Olarinde. We begin this week with stories and happenings that made headlines over the weekend. Well, we'll have that report later on in the program. Let's move to Rwanda, where President Paul Kagame is warning African leaders to avoid tribal politics. He stated this during a media briefing in Kigali, the capital of Rwanda. He says he has observed that tribal politics is predominant in the region and should be avoided in the interest of stability. Well, on Sunday, during a solemn ceremony in the capital, marking 30 years since the Rwandan genocide, President Kagame blamed the international community for failing the country at the time of the genocide back in 1994. The 100-day massacre claimed the lives of 800,000 people, largely Tutsis, by moderate Hutus. Well, here's more in this report.
As with all of the ceremonies preceding this one, the 30th anniversary of the genocide in Rwanda was solemn yet profound, as President Paul Kagame reflected on the event that changed the country's political and cultural course from 1994. Commemorated at the Kigali Genocide Memorial, the event was witnessed by other African leaders such as President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa and President of the African Development Bank, Akiwumi Adesina, and a host of others. More than 250,000 victims of the genocide have been buried at the Kigali Memorial, even though more than 800,000 people, largely Tutsis, but also a moderate number of Hutus, were slaughtered in the 100 days that the genocide lasted.
This flame symbolizes not only our past, but the hope for tomorrow. It will keep burning for the next 100 days.
His Excellency President Paul Kagame.
In his address to the world, President Paul Kagame said Africa needed to learn lessons from the genocide, just like Rwanda has. But he blamed the international community for failing Rwanda in its time of need.
The remnants of those forces are still in Eastern Congo today, where they enjoy state support in full view of the United Nations peacekeepers, their objectives have not changed. And the only reason this group today known as FDLR has not been disbanded is because their continued existence serves some unspoken interest.
He also said Rwanda was completely humbled by the magnitude of its loss and that lessons learned are engraved in blood.
The more Rwanda takes full responsibility for its own safety and dignity, the more intensely the established truth about the genocide is questioned and revised.
French President Emmanuel Macron had sent a recorded video message earlier on Sunday, acknowledging that his country and its allies could have stopped the genocide, but lacked the will to do so.
Well, let's now take that report on the summary of all that happened over the weekend in the continent.
On Saturday, homes in several residential areas of Bujumbura were submerged after the nearby lake Tanganyika was flooded, leaving streets waterlogged, crops destroyed, and many families displaced. This year, the lake has reportedly hit a 50-year record high rise of water levels of 2.5 meters due to heavy rainfall. The Lake Tanganyika region in the west of the country, where approximately 800,000 people reside, is frequently threatened by flooding. For the past 5 years, the Rusizi River has been overflowing due to silting. This persistent issue has led to significant challenges for the local population. The Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe introduced a new gold-backed currency under the name ZiG, which stands for Zimbabwe Gold, in the capital Harare. The brand new notes were displayed by the governor of the RBZ, John Musho Yavanyu.
Banks shall convert the current Zimbabwe dollar balances into the new currency, which shall be called the Zimbabwe Gold. Z, capital Z, small I, capital G, ZiG in short.
He added that the ZiG will be backed by Zimbabwe's nostro accounts, which will comprise foreign currencies alongside with precious metals, gold in particular. Citizens across Zimbabwe have 3 weeks to convert the current money into the new ZiG. Residents of the Faisal neighborhood in Egypt's Giza governorate marked the near end of Ramadan on Saturday by hosting a communal iftar along 6 streets, welcoming hundreds to join in breaking their fast together. Neighborhood volunteers, including children, arranged iftar tables and chairs, while others served the meals and beverages. The streets can be seen decorated with traditional Ramadan ornaments. The month of Ramadan, esteemed in the Islamic faith as a period of reverence and devotion, entails devout prayers during the late evening and voluntary abstinence from both food and drink throughout the daylight hours.
More stories now. Schools have been closed in parts of South Africa's West Cape province, including Cape Town, and this is due to a severe destructive storm that wreaked havoc in the province at the weekend. Now, education authorities say the closure affects schools in the Cape Winelands and Overberg education districts, as well as the Helderberg Basin area. Authorities are also asking residents to stay off the roads and avoid unnecessary travel. The destructive winds are predicted to continue on Monday, and the Weather Service has also issued warnings for heavy rains that may result in flooding. Well, joining us now is our Channels TV correspondent in South Africa, Innocent Samosa. Hello, Innocent. What more can you tell us about the storm? We understand the schools have been shut, even as this is said to be a severe destructive storm.
Well, a very good colleague and our viewers around the world. Indeed, challenging weather patterns in South Africa. In fact, the Western Cape Premier, Alan Winde, is advising visitors in some parts of the province, particularly in the Cape Winelands area, to remain in their accommodation. We're told that these districts are some of the worst affected by the storm conditions since Sunday. The Premier has also called on the public to avoid bridges, crossings, and low-lying areas that can be flooded. But this is not only happening in the Western Cape, colleague, but we're seeing incidents in KwaZulu-Natal province. In fact, the KwaZulu-Natal Department of Transport is calling on motorists to be extra vigilant following a serious incident or accident that involving two trucks which forced the complete closure of the N3 in Van Riens Pass. The road is still closed as I speak, as I'm talking to you, and traffic is being diverted to other alternative routes such as the N11 linking KwaZulu-Natal and Mpumalanga. Also, we're told the R74 linking KwaZulu-Natal and the Free State. But also, we're being told by the emergency services that the recovery team is currently on the scene, and they say they're working so hard to try to remove the two trucks and open the road for traffic. But also, the traffic officials, the police are also on the scene. Also, we're told that one person sustained serious injuries and is being taken to the nearest hospital. The department is also appealing to road users to postpone their traveling using the N3 between KwaZulu-Natal and Gauteng to delay delay their travels up until the recovery is completed. There is currently a huge traffic backlog as I'm talking to you. In a separate incident, of course, in KwaZulu-Natal, 4 people died when a Toyota Taz collided with another vehicle on the R66 in Ulundi. So with all of these incidents, colleague, the department is calling on road users to be extra vigilant as the province is, of course, experiencing heavy rainfall and is experiencing mist in most parts of that particular province.
All right, thank you, Innocent, correspondent there in South Africa. Now, more than 90 people have died after a ferry sank off the northern coast of Mozambique. Officials in Nampula province say 5 people had been rescued, and that's of the around 130 believed to have been on board. According to Nampula Secretary of State Jamie Nato, the passengers were fleeing a cholera outbreak and many children were among the dead. He adds that the boat was overcrowded and unsuited to carry passengers, and so it ended up sinking. The boat was apparently traveling from Lunga to Mozambique Island off the coast of Nampula. Now, this is a Muslim majority area, and so some of those who died have already been buried in line with Islamic rites. The International Monetary Fund, IMF, says it is assessing the impact of a deep drought on several African countries after they declared national emergencies. IMF spokesperson Julie Kozak says the organization has warned of the dangers of climate shocks on the economies of countries in sub-Saharan Africa and is working on ways to provide support.
I think it's important to start by saying that we have seen over the last several years and decade an increased frequency of climate shocks globally, and Africa has been particularly hard hit by these climate shocks, and we see this, of course, happening now with these droughts in Zimbabwe, Malawi, and Zambia. The IMF remains committed to supporting sub-Saharan African countries. These successive shocks, including climate shocks, have underscored the importance of the IMF's role as an essential component to sub-Saharan Africa's safety net, particularly for countries with limited policy buffers. Since the beginning of the pandemic in 2020, the IMF has provided almost $58 billion worth of financing to sub-Saharan Africa, most of it on highly concessional terms. And with respect to supporting countries build resilience to climate shocks,
Well, the United Nations World Food Programme says it has managed to bring desperately needed food and nutrition supplies into Darfur in Sudan. Now, this is the first WFP assistance to reach the war-racked region in months. Despite this, the UN Food Agency is warning that unless the people of Sudan receive a constant flow of aid via all possible humanitarian corridors, and that's from neighboring countries and across battle lines, the country's hunger catastrophe will only worsen.
On the cross-border operation, we were very delighted to receive the clearance to resume again our operation. So this is indeed critical. Humanitarian corridors are a must. Many people are suffering in Darfur today, and we don't want more people to come to Chad. So we really need to assist them where they are today. It's urgent. We need to continue our cargo, our shipments. We've done a lot already since last year. But we need to do much more, and for that we need to have a lot of resources prepositioned, stocked at the border, stacked at the border. We need to have those stocks at the border to make sure that we continue to dispatch our food commodities to
Welcome back to the program. We continue here in Nigeria, where the Edo State Deputy Governor, Philip Shuaibu, has been impeached by the State House of Assembly. The impeachment, which took place during the House plenary today, followed the adoption of the report of the 7-man investigative panel set up by the Assembly to probe allegations of misconduct against Mr. Shuaibu. Incidentally, the Federal High Court in Abuja was to resume sitting in the lawsuit filed by Mr. Shuaibu challenging the move by the State House of Assembly to impeach him. Mr. Shuaibu and his principal, the Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki, have been embroiled in a face-off over his decision to contest for the state governorship seat under the platform of the People's Democratic Party.
Do solemnly swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance.
Meanwhile, a new deputy governor has been sworn in Edo State to replace Philip Shuaibu, who was impeached earlier today. Omobayo Godwins took the oath of office this afternoon following his confirmation as deputy governor designate by the House of Assembly. The brief event was attended by supporters and state government functionaries. The 38-year-old deputy governor is coming from the private sector, where he has experience in the oil and gas industry. He was the candidate of the Labour Party for the House of Representatives in the last election. Well, Nigeria is still celebrating Pelumi Nubi, the content creator and globetrotter who embarked on a solo road trip from Lagos to London. The Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, has appointed her brand ambassador of tourism for the state. The governor has also promised a refund of all expenses made on her trip from London. In addition to this, she was gifted a lag ride vehicle and a house. Well, arriving on Sunday to a hero's welcome, she was received at the Nigeria-Benin Republic border by Lagos State government officials. Her second stop was at Badagry, from which she headed to Unilag for her homecoming celebration. Well, Ms. Nubi began her journey in January, driving through about 11 countries, spanning 68 days. More details in this report.
Nigerians are in high spirits as solo traveler Pelumi Nubi, who set a target to travel from London to Lagos via road, finally arrives Lagos after 68 days of being on the road. She's received at the Nigeria-Benin border by a host of media houses, high-profile personalities, and government officials as she arrives in her purple car dressed in a matching-colored Ashoke jacket. Pelumi leads the convoy, and all roads lead to the University of Lagos, where she is received with a celebratory carnival on arrival. She seems determined to do this all over again in spite of the challenges she faced along the journey.
Honestly, I think we should do more audacious things as humans. I think it's very important to step out of our comfort zone. I really wanted to explain the continent I was born into as well. I did not see enough representation. I didn't know people that look like me, so I wanted to do that. Showcase our beautiful continent to people. And by road allows you the freedom to stop whenever you choose to. I decided to use the same car I've had because I didn't want that to stop me. Use the things you have, use the equipment you have. And yeah, I just wanted to document it so other people will be inspired to step out of their comfort zone and do brilliant things and, audacious things as well.
Bellumi's father, Professor Timothy Nubi, smiling with a sigh of relief, recounts the sleepless nights he experienced during her 68 days of traveling from London to Nigeria by road.
We were the security that we put in place, that we followed her every hour. She will send a Google map of where she's sleeping, in the forest, in the desert, anywhere. So, first person to call the following morning, the night was well, then I'm moving now. So, when she gets to the next settlement, she'll tell, it's a journey together for the last 2 months. So, that's why I said we can sleep now.
Chairman of Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabi Erewa, who was on ground to receive Bellumi Nubi, commends her on her achievement, applauding her for being an inspiration to women all over the world.
Bellumi, in fact, I buy everything. I buy woman. Just sitting down there, having the first female vice chancellor of the University of Lagos to your right, having me seated just next to you, in between two amazing women. Aren't we just proud? Nigerian women make some noise! So Bellumi, you are an inspiration. And Bellumi, indeed, you are an achiever. What more can I tell you? Thank you for inspiring us. Thank you for making us know that you can be what you want to be. You can achieve anything you want to achieve. Nothing will stop you but yourselves.
Children, adults, people from all walks of life are all amazed at this great feat that Bellumi Nubi has achieved, and the celebration of her courage is what is on the lips of many.
Well, we're happy to have her back at home. And that's it on the program today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Layo Olarinde.